You ever have one of those days where you're so sure you're living in reality, and then suddenly, bam, you realize you're smack in the middle of some bureaucratic fever dream? Yeah, that's pretty much how it started for me. Except it wasn't a dream, and there sure as hell wasn't any waking up from it. The HOA treasurer, guy named Dennis, nervous eyes, badge made from what looked like an old gym membership card, dumped a stack of carbon copy invoices on my mahogany dining table like he was dealing blackjack in Vegas. Top invoice dated June 3rd, 1950. I mean, come on. Charged me for dock etiquette classes and seagull mitigation, whatever the hell that means. There was a late fee for email, a website maintenance surcharge, and get this, a wireless router assessment. I just stared at the thing, reading line after line, wondering if I'd accidentally wandered into a Monty Python sketch. Outside, Lark's Cove was sparkling in the afternoon sun, water all calm and glassy, real pretty. Inside, Dennis leaned in, menace dripping from his voice, and told me if I didn't cough up $38,940 in past due assessments, they'd slap a retroactive lien on my place by tomorrow. I just kept my voice level, not letting him see I was about one insult away from losing it completely. And the kicker? In 1950, my house was nothing but a burned-out boathouse, and my parents hadn't even met yet. Dennis, still reading from his little HOA script, says, per bylaw, Section 47, subsection 12, time is merely a suggestion, and all debts follow the land eternally. You know what I mean? That's when it all hit me. I wasn't just dealing with the usual HOA nonsense. I was up against a full-on, clipboard-wielding zealot with a taste for drama and a real flair for historical fiction. My name's Julian Mercer. I like the smell of varnish more than the sound of most people's voices. I'd just finished restoring this 100-year-old lakefront mansion in Birch Ridge, a place so pretty it makes your heart hurt if you catch the sun at the right angle. I'm a simple guy. Up at 6, coffee strong enough to knock out a horse, sanding trim by 9, rowing at dusk when the sky and the lake turn gold, and you feel like you could float right off the edge of the world. Directly across the cul-de-sac, Colleen Pettigrew, our HOA president and self-declared empress of the Larkser Lakeside Improvement Society. Colleen, early 60s, hair like a steel helmet, always marching around with a clipboard like she's running Versailles. First day I moved in, she welcomed me with a rhubarb pie. Actually pretty damn good, and a smile so tight it could have cracked the kitchen window. Along with the pie, she let me know my weather vane. A copper rooster my granddad made back in 28. Was guilty of showboating and creating visual discord. You can't make this stuff up. Colleen was relentless. First it was violation slips, every morning, like clockwork. Aggressive shingle reflectivity, dock cleats blinding boaters, grass growing with unauthorized enthusiasm. I mean, who writes this stuff? Then came the fee letters. 1972 canoe choreography dues, 1961 weed whispering assessment, and the cherry on top. A bill from 1950 for a parcel that, according to county records, was underwater until the late 50s. She even posted my delinquency on the community app, ranking me just above the raccoon guy and below the dude with the wrong color mailbox. And then came the surveillance, drones snapping shots of my gutters at dawn, Colleen herself skulking around my property at 5 a.m. with a tape measure, cataloging the angle of sunrise on my east windows. When I asked her what she was doing, she didn't even blink, said she was gathering evidence of solar noncompliance, per Section 93 of the bylaws. I checked. Our bylaws only have 40 sections. One day, she even filed a continuity lien at the county office, claiming the HOA had existed since the Truman administration. She attached yellowed invoices with coffee stains, real dedication, but I spotted zip codes on them. Problem is, zip codes didn't exist until 63. She even CC'd my mortgage servicer and a law firm whose website still had lorem ipsum in the footer and a stock photo labeled Lawyer Man. I kid you not. Her piece de resistance? Scheduling a heritage demolition review for my carriage house, claiming it suffered from money corrosion caused by decades of unpaid assessments. She even sent a 3-page memo explaining it, as if that would somehow make it real. At this point, I realized I needed backup. My late father was a research librarian, so I know a thing or two about digging up records and playing the long game. I sent the invoices to Patricia Chun, a retired forensic document examiner who could sniff out a fake date stamp from 3 rooms away, and to Eleanor Ross, the county historian who's got more files than the Library of Congress. 3 days later, Patricia calls, barely able to contain her glee. 17 different anachronisms. Barcodes on 1950 receipts, Microsoft Word metadata on typed docs, fonts that didn't exist before digital typesetting. Eleanor found old plat maps proving the HOA didn't exist until '87. Before that, it was just potluck dinners and casual neighborly threats, nothing organized. I looped in Marcus Webb at the state AG's office, a guy who sounds like he's seen everything and is tired of all of it. My title insurance company got their fraud counsel involved, and the county recorder flagged Colleen's liens as potentially defective. Suddenly, things started turning. Marcus showed up with a binder full of evidence requests and a search warrant for the HOA's records. The next HOA meeting felt like a hostage situation, only with more PowerPoint slides. Colleen, dressed to the nines, started her presentation. First slide, 1950 delinquency roll, in bold, with a clip art eagle. Slide 2, a sepia-toned Truman memo, looked a lot like an Instagram filter. Slide 3, my property circled in red, captioned historical deadbeat. She was on a roll. And then, here's where it gets good, Patricia Chun, who I'd invited, stood up, walked to the front, and tapped the screen. Calm as you like, she said. That's a 1997 clip art paperclip. And that watermark is from an Epson scanner released in 2011. The metadata shows these PDFs were created last month on Windows 11. Then Eleanor chimes in from her seat, holding up a survey map. This parcel didn't legally exist until 1958. Before that, it was just lake bottom. The room just deflated. You could feel it. Then Marcus Webb stood up, badge glinting, and started reading out charges, filing false instruments, attempted title clouding, unfair debt collection, first-degree forgery. He asked Colleen about a historical verification consultant who'd been paid $47,000 in administrative stipends, the same routing number as her own bank account. When the projector froze on that spreadsheet cell, displaying the routing number in giant font, Colleen's face went from triumphant to ghostly. Deputy Marshal Sarah Chan stepped forward, snapped cuffs on her wrists, and read her Miranda rights. Dennis, the nervous collections officer, quietly asked if I could give him a ride home, since Colleen had been his ride. Yeah, that actually happened. 3 months later, Colleen pled guilty to a whole bouquet of fraud counts. Fake liens, attempted extortion, theft by deception, the works. She took a plea deal. Her public defender pretty much begged her to, after seeing the evidence boxes the prosecutor brought in, ordered to pay back $63,000 to the HOA, which, fun fact, was more than the HOA had ever actually collected legally. Sentencing day, the courtroom was packed. Judge Patricia Morrison, tough, no nonsense, not buying any of Colleen's last-minute sob stories, looked her dead in the eye, said that fabricating 70 years of fake invoices was a new low, even for HOA drama. The sentence? 500 hours scraping zebra mussels from public docs. Plenty of time to reflect on the difference between history and fiction. 3 years probation, banned from holding any board or committee position anywhere in the state, and required to take classes on document authenticity and ethical leadership. The judge even cracked. Anyone who can fake documents this well ought to learn how to use their powers for good. As the bailiff led Colleen out, ashen-faced, mumbling about misunderstandings and protecting property values, I realized her little reign of HOA terror had ended not with a bang, but with a metallic click of the lock and the quiet sighs of neighbors who'd finally seen justice served. You know, there's something weirdly satisfying about watching a bully get unmasked in front of everyone they tried to control. But here's the thing. I still get looks from neighbors, some grateful, some wary, and some who'll probably never trust the next board president as long as they live. The whole mess left our community with this open wound. Do you trust people in charge, or do you keep fighting for transparency until you're exhausted? What even is justice when it comes to neighborly disputes and endless stacks of paperwork? So let's hear it. If you were sitting in my place, facing down fake history, weaponized bureaucracy, and a neighbor with a flair for creative crime, what would you have done? Drop your thoughts below. Was justice really served? Or is this just how the cycle starts over again? Go ahead, Share your wildest HOA story or just sound off about what fair means in a place where everyone's supposed to be neighbors. I'll be reading every single comment because, believe me, there's always another chapter waiting just around the corner.